Welcome back to one of Wren's Wasteland tutorials. Haven't done one of these in a while. Thought I'd go ahead and get it out of the way. Couple things for some new people that have recently joined the game. Okay, so Fallout First isn't a necessity unless you're a hoarder. If you're a hoarder, it's a necessity. I personally am a hoarder. I also am more likely to buy atoms once a month to at least buy something new out of the atomic shop. So buying Fallout First for myself was not a bad idea. That being said, Fallout First always kicks in. You get your atoms on the day that you sign up for it. And that's the day you'll get them next month. It's like an annual thing. They just show up the same date. So keep that in mind. It's cheaper to get the yearly than it is to get the weekly or monthly, my mistake. And it's cheaper to get it through, technically I think, the Microsoft store than it is through the Bethesda store or Steam. So you might want to consider that. Alright, so tutorial wise. Now, say you want to build a house on a hill or any location where you're not going to have perfectly flat terrain. So you place your first foundation, and your next foundation needs to go behind it, like so, right? Or out in front of it, or to the side of it, right? Well, you see here, this foundation doesn't want to snap through the ground because of the way the ground is. Now, that being said, I could pull this one back and make it, kill the tree that's there, which is not a bad thing. It's one of the features of the foundations. They will clear an area for you, and they will get rid of smaller trees. Like, let me just show you here. If you take this foundation over here, it'll get rid of these little trees, but any of the most of the larger ones like this one, it will not touch. So anything with a decent diameter, it's not going to do anything to. But like any of the smaller trees, you shouldn't have that much of a problem. But as you can see, when you place your foundation, if you want to place your next one, it's going to go into the ground. So in order to get around that, you could always raise your foundation like so, and snap it in place. And then if you're lucky, your walls are lined up like this. Now, to get around that whole lucky part, there's a simple trick for that. All you need to do is you take your foundation, you go to this stair section, you go down here to these posts. This one is a full wall height. And this one is a half wall height. You can use a half wall height, or you can use the full wall. It's up to you. But either way, now we'll go ahead and throw down that second floor, and it should snap in right to that post. Once the floor is snapped in, this is able to be removed. This post. Just come around here, swerve around till you can select it individually as an item, and you can either remove it like so, and then throw down. Now stairs, this is kind of tricky, but these concrete stairs will go down to any foundation and into them without an issue. The wooden stairs are not as forgiving, meaning they don't want to do it as often. And even the other wooden sets that are in that section. So your best bet for this stuff is to use these concrete foundations, or place your stairs to begin with, and then put your foundations in place, which is a little bit more tricky, and it's something that I'm not going to do a tutorial on because it is more of a pain than it's worth, to be honest, in my opinion. But it can be done. It is not something I recommend. Not for basic building techniques, which is what this is basically all about. But as you can see, these walls line up perfectly well. You'll not have any kind of gap or seam if you go higher. Now, next. So you've come to somebody's camp, and you've seen something like an item that's floating in the air. So we'll need this right here for that. Now, anything you place on top of your camp module is going to float. What do I mean by that? Let me show you here. Here is a second wall, and we'll go with a flat roof, just to give you context. Then we will take this camp module and we will put it up on top of this roof. Okay? Now then, say I want to float, I don't know. Let's find something in floor decor that'll work. We'll go with this barrel. Okay? So the barrel can sit here on top of this without an issue. Now if I put it on top of this, and then I remove this, and take it down here, well, where's the barrel? It's still sitting there. Now, if you really want to get technical, you can technically go like this, transform this into a angled piece, and this is the only type of roof. You've got to be able to do this particular trick to get this to work with the roof that you're using. So if it is not able to be transformed into this angled piece, this will not work. Then you go down here and you remove the wall. You replace it back with another flat section, and there you go. So now this whole thing is floating. But that's for more complex builds. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is, if you don't already own these catwalk extensions or the alien catwalk set, or you don't have the fortress catwalk set, what you're going to want to do is buy these in the atomic shop whenever they become available. And the reason why is this: these are the most versatile thing in game for moving walls, positioning floors, and getting things adjusted in game, because you can literally say, okay, this is you have all the different, let me show you this. You have all the different sizes. Okay, this is a half floor space. This is a full floor space. That's a quarter here. And then you've also got these angled pieces that let you make your turns. So you can adjust and move walls and floors as necessary, using these alone to help you position things in game. They can also be used in conjunction to make placeable walls. They can be placed pretty much anywhere you want in game, as long as the floor decor item that you use can be placed. And the way that works is this right here. We're going to need, first off, let's just go ahead and pick a wall. I recommend using the doors because the doors are the most versatile things in the game as far as placement goes. They're the most forgiving. Then we will go ahead, go down to the stair section. You're going to need what post again that I had before. See, that thing just loves to fly. You're going to need a piece of floor decor. most people will say they use like, you know, something small or something innocuous to do it. Like the statue here would be a good thing. Um, any of the ducks, the can from the shooting thing. These were from the Amazon Prime set that they gave us out as a bonus whenever one of the sets came, one of the expansions came. Let's go ahead and do this first. So you're going to need this. You're going to put it up at the top like so. You're going to go back over here to the stair section. You're going to grab your post. It's going to snap in without too much of an issue. Then you're going to go ahead and go over here to the floor decor section. I'm going to use this rug. Okay, then we're going to make a blueprint. We're going to start with a wall, grow it out from there to here, and then lastly to right here. Now you're going to name this blueprint. You're going to go in under create. You can name it whatever you want. Placeable wall. I name things based on what I'm doing at the time or how I'm trying to manipulate some object. So I labeled that 0, which is also the key that I use to turn off my recording software, because I didn't think about it, and it is just the way that I seem to roll with being kind of scatterbrained at times, and because I'm kind of on cough medicine at the moment, kind of fuzzy, which is why my whole presentation is a little off, not gonna lie. Okay. Now, as you know, your blueprints go in numeric or alphabetical order. Normally when you place a wall, it will snap directly to this section here. But because I have done this in this fashion, I can literally place it right here on the center line for these foundations, if it will let me do it. Well, maybe not. There we go. Now you see what I'm talking about. See, whenever you start having things actually float in the air, on occasion you'll have issues where the game won't register that it's actually touching enough of the ground to be physically viable. And you might get things like this where you can't actually delete the foundations that you're placing. In that case, your best bet is to try and replace it with a different foundation and see if that'll work. 9 times out of 10 it won't. And you'll just have to scrap the whole thing that you're doing to get rid of this one foundation. On occasion, though, if you work backwards far enough, it'll let you do what I just did and remove it. But this floating wall blueprint, this works with half walls. It works with full walls. It's how people build things up in the sky. And typically they have to blueprint walls, a lot of wall pieces, and everything they're going to use up there, because placement of floating materials is much easier when you're working from a blueprint versus working directly from a placement option. So keep that in mind. And if you decide to build a tree house, remember these upper branches are all, well, they're there as far as you can see them, but they're all not there as far as like actual texture mapping or so you can actually just build right through it. But the problem is that they don't disappear in game, so you still have those ugly branches sticking out of whatever you're doing. So if you're going to build something up in a tree, go ahead and go for Mothman. or do a hunter's, like, or a guard post or something like that. Tree houses, you're going to be looking for a few very special, very tall trees like this over here to build around, because then you can anchor it to it and there's not that many branches. These things are not rare exactly, but they're not that common in the world space, so just keep that in mind. They are most common if you're going to build a tree house down in this new area of the map. Over in this area is where they are. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. Have fun with the game. If you have any other questions or things you'd like me to show you, I will happily do so. Just put it in the comments down below, and I'll go ahead and set it up for you whenever I can. Have a good day and have fun.